What's up, guys? It's your boy, not Satan, your 69th favorite Korean emerging learning YouTuber, and today I got a special video for everyone, right? So, taking a break from the regularly scheduled program for a special video. So, someone hit me up on Discord the other day, and they asked me, they said, oh, they liked my video, but they were asking, do I still think it's worth it? Why am I learning all this, right? So, I think it was actually a great video because I don't think I've actually seen many videos like this where people talk about why, what's the reason, what's their motivation for it. So, although I do allude to a lot of this in my, my usual update videos, I actually think this kind of deserves a special video by itself, right? Because it's quite meaningful. The whole reason why, right? Why am I doing all this? Because if you think about it, who in their right mind would devote so much of their time to, and by devote time, I mean a lot of time, right? That could be spent on more productive things, on learning a language that you don't use in your daily life, and very little people actually speak the language, right? So it feels like there must be a very compelling reason why, right? And so I think that's why, there's a video today. So the whole question of why is an interesting question for me personally, because on to some extent, I also actually don't know, right? You might think this is stupid. Of course you know, right? You're the you're the one doing it, but I just don't know the exact reason. Like if someone asks me why, whenever people ask me why, I always say, oh, I'm trying to get the K-pop content in. So I think actually I've given this answer a lot of times, but I don't think I've actually given a proper idea. So actually, a lot of people who get this, who hear the word K-pop content, the phrase, they don't actually know what it entails, right? So every time I give this answer, I feel maybe it's probably not very clear. So I think it would be good if I explained it a little bit. Now, I could go into the whole ins and out of the industry and stuff like that, but that would be a six-part. It would be a six-part series, each being 2 hours long. Okay, so if you want to see that, you have to. You gotta pay me a lot of money to make that, but because I have a lot of controversial opinions about the industry, so I think it'd be a very, very long 10-part mini series, 2 hours each, right? So anyway, so I'll just basically give a rundown of what I actually do. Okay, why? Well, I mean, I'll talk about the content first, and I'll talk about where does the learning language relate to all this. So if you think about, there's this thing, right, that you might have heard of called K-pop. So if you can think of it. Don't think of it as the music of country of Korea. You can think of it more as a sort of a subgenre, right? A subgenre of the sort of music, the sort of pop music in that country, right? So now the question is, what does content mean in the context of this? So if we look at the industry itself, there's a lot more than just music, right? So because music is basically, in this day and age, it doesn't the physical like a record, a CD, like it doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Because you can just go on YouTube, you can go on Spotify, you can download it. So there's more than, so the music isn't like this. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so what is all this content I keep talking about, right? So if we look at in terms of the distribution of channels, right? The distribution channels, we have radio, right? So I'm breaking it down to very obvious ones. So radio, TV, wait, stupid me, what? Radio, TV, YouTube. 4 is View Live. I think that's about it. So we'll many people might ask, especially if you are a K-pop stan yourself, you might be like, wait a minute. All this stuff, there's English subtitles, right? Why are you learning? So it's true. So actually, the thing is, there's usually a lot of content that's subtitled. Sometimes it's officially subtitled by the company or by the channel, or sometimes it's fan subtitled, right? And fan subtitles means people translate it themselves. So the question is, why are you learning it, right? If it's all going to be translated. Now, the thing is, actually, not everything is translated. So I would say depending on there's many different factors, right? But I'd say one big factor. Okay, so for radio, depending whether or not it's subtitled or not, is gonna be I'd say depending on how big a group is. So for example, the biggest group, I guess, right? BDS. It's like I guess I don't know. I think right. It's like these two are like the biggest groups. Everyone knows them, right? So I'd say these two would be 100%. You can get English subtitles for everything, and not just like within a year, right? So I'd say probably within a, if it's really hardcore, within a day, within an hour, you can get subtitles, or if it's, or instantly. So, what was it? So, right? Then okay, so like that's like the top 1% of, it's like the top 1%. Then that's 100% chance, right? But I don't care about those groups, so it doesn't really mean anything for me. Then there's like the sort of if that's like the top two, then there's like the two, like 2 to 18. I mean, obviously there's no ranking, but then rank 2 to 18 would be, you know, so it's 3 to 18. So we just say this 1 and 2. This is 1. This is 1. This is 2. This is 1 and 2. So then rank 3 to 18, I'd say, depending how obviously it goes exponentially lower. You know, the lower popularity it goes. So popularity could I'd say basically in terms of you know, maybe something like album sales, YouTube view, something like that. But I mean, in general, you know what I mean. So if it's 3 to 18, the chance of getting that with English subs, I'd say probably within a year, 90% plus for sure. 9% plus, right? Like there's with it, if you want to watch it, you'll definitely be able to watch it 3 to 18. That's for sure, right? Then sorry, what am I saying? 320, right? Then now we go to the sort of grayer area, 20 to 50, right? 20, because actually, are there that many groups? Yeah, there's probably that many groups, right? There's okay. Actually, 320, 310, 9%. Then I'd say so every like 5 to 10, it gets progressively lower. So then we go to 70%, then maybe next tier 50%, no, probably left 40%, 10%, right? So as you go down, it gets progressively lower, like from 10 to 15 or 20 as you go down, you know, the supposed ranks of popularity. Now it's just it's an arbitrary meaning of popularity, but then in general, obviously the more people that want to watch it, there's going to be more chance that you have subtitles available, right? So now the question is, now this is just radio shows, right? So this means that it has to be all fan made, because there's very rarely subtitles by the company themselves, like the radio company themselves, or the station. Basically, it's going to be by fans, right? So for me, the problem is right, the groups I like, the stuff that I like, I don't think there's even 10%, right? Probably, I'd say less than 1% of the content. Sorry, it's like the content has a 1% chance of being subtitled within a year, right? That's for the groups that I care about deeply, right? So that's less than 1%. So if you think about it, if you don't learn English, if you don't learn Korean, you're never going to be able to watch radio shows. So just a quick side note, actually radio shows aren't purely audio, because in the industry they do have cameras, right? So you can actually watch a video feed while listening to the audio. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, for me, if for the groups I care about, if I want to understand the radio show, I have to learn Korean, right? So this one, I have to learn Korean. Boom. All right. So I have to learn Korean for this one. And TV. So not actually like watching TV, right? But the TV shows themselves. So I think it kind of adheres to sort of the same rule, but this time it's different because there are people who actually watch the show itself, not just for the guests, right? So I watch for the guests only. Like, you know, when some of the group members go have an appearance, I might watch an episode of that program, right? But the question is, like once again, how many percent of a subtitle, right? So I'd say depending on how big the TV show is, this is probably more important because although the TV stations, of course, they don't subtitle it, right? It's all online anyways. There's gonna be well, illegal sounds like a bootleg, right? There's gonna be bootleg copies of it, and that's gonna be subtitled too. Usually, there's a lot of big websites like K-Show, 123, that sort of thing. So I'd say in general, 90% of TV programs, if it's a big program, something like Running Man, then 100%, yeah. So 100% if it's huge TV program, right? Huge, then you're definitely going to be able to enjoy with English. Then well, actually, then maybe smaller programs, 80% chance, because there's still going to be fan subs. If it's a big enough program, then so medium sized program, right? What's wrong? Medium, right? So no, not super, but then there's like smaller programs here and there. There's smaller programs here and there that aren't popular with audiences internationally. And if the guest appearance is not as popular, right? Not as popular, then I'd say the chance of it getting subtitled is probably less than 20%. Less than 20%. So it's actually it's not it's not small, right? So it's actually not a small. 20% compared to 1%, it's still quite a lot. But we're talking about within a year, right? We're talking about within a year. And one of the TV programs, what's it called again? Something saying Neighbors, right? Notorious Neighbors, something like that. There are still episodes from like 2016 that still haven't been subbed, right? The Wu Sonyo one hasn't been subtitled yet. I think only one episode's been subtitled, so basically zero subtitles, right? So, and they're actually a pretty big group if you think about it. So 20% is not very optimistic, right? So if you want to enjoy the TV show, sorry, but I guess I had to learn, right? I had to learn if I wanted to understand the TV content. Now, YouTube content is an interesting one because I'd say so YouTube, there is content from people's own channel, so the groups or the company's own channel, and then there's content from independent media creators who feature the guests too. So that sort of content, I'd say, I'd say maybe starting 2018, 2019. So basically pre 2018. So pre 2018, I'd say it was still pretty good. It's like 80%, right? Pre 2018. Then, it got big. It got even bigger recently, right? So I'd say from 2018, 2020, we're talking about 95%, 95% of stuff. Then I'd say in this day and age, 100%. So I think in 2021, unless you follow 99%, it's very more realistic. But in this day and age, 2021, everything K-pop related on YouTube, if it involves someone who's actually from the group or is in the group, or it's the group themselves, their company publishing their own videos, it's gonna have English subtitles on it. And people are spoiled these days because there's Spanish, there's French, there's even Vietnamese. There's Japanese, there's Indonesian, there's Hindi. It's crazy, right? It's insane. There are some channels, right, which have 20 languages, right? 20 languages for subtitles, which is insane if you think about it. Because there's a lot of content which doesn't even have 2 languages, right? So 20 plus 20 languages, you don't even have to learn English, right? You can learn French and you'll be fine. So 99%, but there's still a small chance. There's still a lot of groups which actually don't have English subtitles, but that's pretty rare. So I'd say YouTube wise, the content that you get on YouTube, you don't need to learn Korean, right? Then now we're talking about the meat and potatoes VLive. So if you've never heard of it, it's very likely, right? Because it's a very niche thing. So I'm not trying to so VLive basically what it is basically just, as the name suggests, there's a word live in, right? So it's a live broadcasting platform where people can interact with fans, but it's basically like just streaming video. It's a live video feed, and there's a comment section, right? So there's no fancy stuff into it, like you can send. There's no like subscriptions or stuff like that, right? There's no fancy chat and everything. So it's like YouTube live streaming, except there's no super chats and stuff like that, right? So that sort of thing is the most interesting one, I think. It's probably the biggest reason. See, because it's live, there is a chance that there's live subs, right? But live subtitles are rare, right? So I'd say probably it'd have to be top five group live subs, and 100% chat, and then live subs. So as it's going on, it's being subtitled live. I don't even know. Actually, I don't even because I don't even follow like top 20, right? I follow like the very niche stuff, so I don't really know how true that is. But based on what I've seen, yes, that's true. And top 5, I say even down to top 20, 100% chance of that being subbed, of them adding subtitles within a month, within a week, right? But then the number goes down really fast if you go down. So for the stuff I care about, so me, the groups I care about, honestly, so zero live subs, which means that it's not being done live, and the chance of that particular live stream being subbed to, I'd say probably less than 5%. I'd say less than 3% being subbed in the next year. So very pessimistic outlook, but it's true. It's not gonna basically this platform. If you follow like a very small, I mean, it's not even that small. Not top 10, not top 15, not top 20. Yeah, you're not gonna get subs, right, within the year. So that's unfortunate, right? So and by not at all, I mean there could be stuff from like 2 years ago, which might not be subbed, right? But that's the thing, because one is it's just a very long format. So most of them are like 40, 60 minutes. There have been ones for like 2 hours, right? So that's very rare. But then it's usually quite long, and there's usually very little interest, right? Because if you sub a TV show, there's a chance that people who just watch a show, not just for the guests, might also want to watch it, right? So people would actually want to care about subbing that. But then for free lives, no one's gonna watch it. Like no one's gonna be like, oh, you know what? I'll just watch this today. You have to actually care about the group enough to watch it, right? And so the thing is, some people might watch a replay, but for me, I try to catch all the broadcasts live if I can, but usually I don't watch the replay. So maybe for like passive listening I might, but I won't watch it in my free time, just because it doesn't feel the same, right? So for this one, 100% you have to learn Korean, right? So 100%. Now the reason why I say this is because it's not just understanding what's happening. You actually have a chance to interact, right? So, and this is probably the coolest thing is that I've had my comment read like 10 times, right? I feel so stupid saying this, right? Because it's so dumb, but it's so fun to have your comment read live. And the thing is, if you type an English comment, you're not gonna get your comment read. Like let's be honest, maybe once or twice, maybe they might read in English, but they don't let's be honest, their English probably isn't gonna be that good, so they're not gonna be able to read your comment fast enough, because it's going by pretty fast usually, right? So they're not gonna read your comment fast enough. They don't have the recognition, right? So it's gonna be more time efficient to just read the Korean only, right? So if you want to interact, have your comment read, you're gonna have to learn Korean. I'm sorry, right? So that's been fun for me though. I've had my comment read, and I think they haven't been dumb comments, right? They haven't been run of the mill. It's funny. It's funny. I feel like I'm overly boasting myself, but then it's like I've had the chance to have some funny, witty insights that have been read. So that's fun, right? So I think for me, I think these are the four channels of what content means for me, right? That's what this is the sort of content that I watch, right? Then tying into why, okay? So tying into why. So I feel like this is the stuff. So okay. So if we look in general, now radio, TV, V Live, right? These are the ones that you have to learn Korean. These are all 30 minutes plus, 40 minutes plus, 60 minutes. Some radio shows are 1 hour, 90 minutes. So some radio shows are 90 minutes. Some TV shows are 90 minutes too. So if you look at the amount of time on average, right? On average, for the stuff that you have to learn Korean, it's probably 80% plus time wise. If we're talking time wise, 80% plus you have to learn, right? So I mean, obviously, if you only follow the biggest of the biggest groups, then you don't have to, right? But I'm talking for me, time wise, the content that I'm watching, 80% of it, if I have to learn, time wise, 80% I have to learn Korean, right? So I'm spending that time already. I have to do it. So, I mean, because if I just watch YouTube, right, then I wouldn't have to, because it's only like 10 minutes a day, right? Well, I mean, okay, it's not 10 minutes a day. It's a lot longer. It's an unhealthy amount, but I wouldn't have to, because it's all sub anyway. So no matter how much I watch, if it's just YouTube, I wouldn't have to care about subs, right? But the thing is, I'm not trying to gatekeep what it means to be a stan here, but let's be honest. Some people, they just aren't that committed. Okay, some people just don't have any skin in the game. Okay, like I know I'm gonna get a comment saying, "Oh, you're gatekeeping," right? But that's not my intention here. I'm just saying, because anyone can open Spotify and open a playlist and say, "Oh, I listen to blah blah blah." You're just listening to it, right? You don't have any skin in the game, right? Like if you care enough, that you buy an album, you put time to actually sit down and watch the content, then it means that you're probably more of a stan than most people, just casuals, right? And especially if you watch V Lives too. If you watch V Lives, you're in terms of international stan, in terms of being an international stan, that's probably where you're gonna be, right? Top 20%. And so the thing is, because that's who I am, I'm gonna have to watch all this stuff, right? Because I stopped watching basketball, because UFC is only once a week, right? So I stopped watching basketball. I stopped working out a lot. Only work out like 15 minutes 3 times a week. I don't even study that much anymore. So because I want to watch more of this content, right? I want to watch more of this content. But the thing is, if you want to be a stan, right, you're gonna have to follow the content. You're gonna have to watch it. I mean, you're not gonna have to. It's like you want to. Sorry, gonna means you have to, right? It's not mandatory, but you really want to watch everything, right? Because you want to. Because personally, for me, I love radio shows because you learn so much cool. You learn a lot of cool information. It's funny, right? It's entertainment, okay? So I want to watch all this content, right? So I'm gonna have to watch all this content anyways, right? Because that's who I am. I'm gonna have to watch this content. So. And I think it sounds pretty logical, because I'm spending 80% of my time watching content that has no subs, right? And I'm gonna have to watch it, and I want to know. Now the key point here is I want to know what's going on. I want to know what they said, and that's why I'm learning Korean. Very simple. It's because I want to know. Now, of course, it's very trivial information. It's like maybe yesterday I had salad, or this morning I woke up 10 minutes late, that sort of thing. But these are details which are more interesting, right? These are the details that drive the sort of reason for why I want to learn Korean. And so obviously there has to be a threshold, right? So below some limit, I probably just don't care enough to learn Korean, right? So if I just sort of casually wanted to watch content, I could just never learn Korean. I could just watch YouTube, watch the sub YouTube content, wait for subs for radio shows, TV shows, V Lives, I could do that, that's for sure. Um, and if I really didn't care, I would just not bother watching stuff without subs, right? Which many people do actually. But the thing is, I've realized that because it's one of the actually it's funny because one of the books I read, um, what's the dude's name again? What's the English? The subtle art of how subtle art of how not to give a fuck, right? Basically, that's the book by Mark Manson, right? So cool, yeah. Fun fact, I read that in Korean, right? Weird flex, but I read it in Korean, and so he talks a lot about value, so what you really care about, and so I realized that I actually care so much, about following these groups that it's worth my time, to stop watching, to not watch basketball, to not work out so much, to not watch English TV shows. Actually want to spend my time. I won't say sacrifice. I'm choosing to to watch his content, right? Because I care enough about them. So it logically follows that if I care enough about watching all this content, then it follows that I should learn the language, right? Because obviously, if I want to find out what's going on and I'm going to watch it, I might as well learn the language, right? It sounds pretty logical. Um, so then I think that's probably a clear enough reason why. That's probably a clear enough reason why I'm doing it now. But the question is now, do I still want to learn Korean, right? So that was the second part of the question. Do I still want to do it? So I think I'm pretty sure I've answered the question of why. I'm sorry if I'm taking away your practice immersion time. I'm sorry, right? But if you watch up to this point, it's probably fun enough, right? So anyways, so now we know why, but do I still want to do it? So this has been an interesting question for me because I'm close to reach my 14th month, right? But because the content I watch, let's be honest, there's no quantum physics, there's no politics, there's nothing fancy, right? It's very, very mundane, run-of-the-mill content, but so it's not going to be very difficult, right? So the question is, do I still want to pursue the language? Now, because as I've stated, my goal was to just understand the content. That was my original goal. That's my why. So now the question is, do I still want to, put in effort to improve? So like I'm talking about doing the Anki, reading. Is it still worth it in terms of doing those activities for that goal, right? Because I feel that right now I'm already at 89% of my goal, if not 95% or higher. Because I watched this V Live the other day and I was like, wait a minute, I understand it all. It's not very difficult, right? I understand everything. So, but of course, more complex TV shows or some radio shows I might not understand, like a phrase here and there. But mostly, I guess I can understand it, right? Mostly, I guess. But the thing is, for me, I feel that I'm still at the stage where I want to know everything, right? I want to know everything. I want to be at the stage where I can type out comments, in real time that are meaningful, right? And I feel that I might not be at that level yet. So I feel that it's to some extent I still want to. I still want to. But this is conditional because it's all predicated on how much I care about this content, right? Because I don't know because who knows what happen. One day I might wake up. Who knows? There could be some really weird. That probably doesn't make sense. Yeah, that probably doesn't make sense. I was gonna say, what if I met the love of my life, right? But is that I couldn't watch K-pop anymore? That'd be dumb, right? Because obviously that wouldn't make sense. It'd be a pretty easy decision. pretty easy decision, right? I'd still be watching that content. But I don't, there might be someday because people fall in and out of love with hobbies too, right? So I used to love cycling, right? And I stopped, right? I used to love working out like crazy, right? And I still do, but if old me saw current me, he'd be pretty mad, right? There's a lot of stuff that you want to do, and then sometimes one day you wake up and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So I think still until the day. So I mean, who knows what will happen? Because I watched some bootleg. I watched a bootleg of K-Con, right? And there were some these old uncle dudes, right? And they're watching all this stuff that I'm watching, right? And then I had this moment of like, whoa, is that gonna be me? I was so terrified because I was like, whoa, if that's gonna be me, in like, let me see, how old am I? In like 30 years, like I had this moment of like, what the fuck's going on? Am I, what if I like you feel me? So I was like, I don't want to be a creepy uncle. But then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I'm just projecting my insecurities onto these people who are having a good time, right? And then I had this really weird moment of like introspection. I was like, wait, how long am I gonna have to do this? And so I realized that I still care very deeply about this. I slowed up. I cared deeply about something positive, right? I wish I cared about if I cared about like solving hunger or solving poverty, then this would be a really cool video, right? But it's such a dumb video. I'm so sorry I wasted your time. But okay, but the question is, the question is, will I care about this in the future? Now, this is probably the only reason why I'm learning Korean. So because I could wake up tomorrow morning, and I could hate it. I would burn all my albums. I'd unsubscribe from all the channels, right? Then I'd probably just stop. I'd delete my Anki decks. I'd just delete all my books. Like, I just stop, right? Because I'd have no reason anymore. Like, this is the sole reason why I'm doing this. So sorry about the quick interruption, but anyways, I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be very straightforward. I'm probably gonna be learning Korean for a very long time, a very 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 long time, because I don't think my love for K-pop is gonna die anytime soon. But I feel honestly, motivation wise, reason wise, the reason, like the second I stop liking it, then that's gonna be it, right? I'd have no reason to continue, right? So I think, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. You know, it's been a long. I've probably taken away 30 minutes of your precious reading time, but you know, you can make up for it by immersing 30 minutes more today. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, keep immersing.